Hi, this is Joe again with another movie review. But this time I'm going to be doing another baseball classic for you, and it's the classic, what I consider the best baseball movie ever made, the 1984 film The Natural, starring Robert Redford, Glenn Close, Kim Basinger, Robert Duvall, Wilford Brimley, Barbara Hershey, and Richard Farnsworth as the coach, and one of the coaches. Wilford Brimley plays the manager, and I said Barbara Hershey already. But this movie came out in 1984, and it's about what the basic story is that Robert Redford plays a player named Roy Hobbs, and when he was 19 years old, he got not really picked, but was invited for a tryout for the Chicago Cubs. And on his way there, on the train, he meets Barbara Hershey, and which of course we didn't know that Barbara Hershey was a nut or a whack job, and she was going around killing famous athletes. Of course, you hear a little scene of that with Robert Duvall's character talking to Don Baker, who plays the Babe Ruth ripoff. So when they do get to Chicago, Robert Redford gets invited to go up to Barbara Hershey's hotel room, and while he's there, she asks him, "Roy, are you going to be the best who ever was in the game?" He says, "That's right," and she pulls out a gun and shoots him right then and there. But he does survive, does live, and 16 years later, he makes a comeback 16 years later, when now he's 35 years old. His whole career went by because of the shooting, and he makes a big comeback. And he had made, during the prologue of the movie, he made a bat. He made his own baseball bat by a tree near his house that was hit by lightning. And he uses this bat. He puts a lightning bolt on the bat and names the bat Wonder Boy. And now all of a sudden, he, instead of being a pitcher, which he was supposed to be in the film, his character was supposed to be his pitcher, he became this big hitter, and he started taking home runs like crazy, and he carries the team to first place, and eventually a one-game playoff against the Pittsburgh Pirates, and they end up winning. Of course, actually they end up winning, and now I'm giving it away. But they do win the pennant in this one-game playoff. In the classic scene where when he hit the home run, the ball hits the light post, and circles the bases. And of course, the New York Knights, which is a fictional team where they played on, wins the pennant, and that's how basically what the movie is. But what a lot of people don't know is that this book is actually based on a novel written by Bernard Malamud. And what a lot of people don't realize was that the subplot in this movie was not really a subplot. It was a major turning point in the film. When Robert Redford's character gets shot, it's actually based on an actual true story, which a lot of people don't know about. Because in 1949, there was a player at that time it was on the Phillies, but it was originally on the Chicago Cubs, by the name of Eddie Wackes. I believe that's how it's pronounced. He was on the Cubs, and he had what is called an obsessed fan. Nowadays, they call him a stalker. But at that time, you call him an obsessed fan, and she was obsessed with Eddie Wackes. She was so fascinated with this guy. Follows him around, keeps writing him letters, but he never writes back to her, because they always see some crackpot, some woman. If her name was like Ruth Ann, I believe her name was like Ruth something. And he found out that she just died about 4 or 5 years ago. She died about 4 or 5 years ago when I found out. And during 1949 season, he gets traded from the Cubs to the Phillies, and she thought that they trained him just to keep the Cubs trained them on purpose to keep them away from each other. Well, in the first, it was during the season trade, and she found out when the Cubs were going to come into Chicago to play the Phillies, and she knew this when different times there was there in 1949 compared to it today, because she found out where the Phillies, what hotel in Chicago the Phillies were staying in, and she found out what room Annie Watkins had. So what she did was she wrote a letter saying or no saying, "Oh, come up to my room," and he had just about enough of this garbage from this woman, so he goes up to or down wherever her room is compared to where his room is in the hotel, and he confronts us. "Hey, lady, why don't you leave me the blank alone? Because I have none of this nonsense. I'm not interested in you. Leave me alone." And that's when she pulls out the gun and shoots him. And she went to an insane asylum for a few years, got released. And I don't know what she was doing between the time that she got released and the time she died, but that's what she was famous for. Unfortunately, she got labeled as a nut, as a whack job, because of what she did. And that incident inspired Bernard Mullenwood to write The Natural, in which Roy Hobbs got shot. And he is a flawed character, but in the movie, of course, we know that he hits the home run. In the book, what happened was there was one subplot where the owner of the Knights, who was a character named the Judge, played by Robert Prosky, he offers Roy Hobbs a bribe to strike out. Or at least make it, not strike out, but at least make it out. So the Knights won't win the pennant, because he had a deal with Wilford Brimley, who was the manager of the Knights. They had a deal where it says, "Oh, if the Knights win the pennant, the Wilford Brimley character could buy his shares, because he sold some of the shares to the Judge, and the Judge is a majority stockholder of the team." And he says, "Look, if the Knights win the pennant, he could buy those shares. Wilford Brimley could buy the shares back, and the Judge is no longer the owner of the team. But if the Knights don't win the pennant, then Wilford Brimley's character is out." And of course, Roy Hobbs figures out that some of the players got bought off and sort of losing on purpose, so that the Knights won't win the pennant. The Judge can have full control of the team. And that's what happened with another character by Michael Manton, this was his second movie. The other one was War Games, which I already did a review on. And he was already paid off to blow games, to make mistakes, and all that type of thing. And then they tried to do the same thing with Roy Hobbs, and Robert Redford's character just didn't want it, because he liked the manager, he liked Pop Fisher. He didn't want to hurt, because he gave him a chance to be in the major leagues, and he doesn't want to hurt him like that. So he says, "Hey, forget. You know where you can put your money." And he says, "Well, don't worry, we have another plan in mind." And that was, of course, they paid off the pitcher, Al Fowler, who pitched in the playoff game, and he never really liked the Robert Redford character, because they always called him Grandpa, because he's 35 years old. He should be retired and not playing at his age. And so he got paid off by the Judge, and he gave up a home run in the playoff game. And he says, "Hey, he says from Al, don't do it," because he knew they was purposely, and they purposely did it because he got paid off by the Judge. And he says, "Forget it. Isn't that, what is this, for show, big shot?" And I start pitching when you start hitting, and of course the rest of the game he pitched the way he was capable of pitching, and not throwing out fat ones. And then, of course, everyone sets it up for the bottom of the ninth inning, where he hits the home run and wins the pennant. For those of you who are into trivia for the movie, this movie The Natural was filmed in Buffalo, New York, and the stadium that was used for the majority of the baseball scenes was in War Memorial Stadium in Buffalo, New York. At that time, it was the home of the Buffalo Bisons at the time. I don't think the stadium is still even in existence today. If any of you are from Buffalo, New York, or the Buffalo, New York area, please write it. Please comment if the stadium is still in existence today, because it was the reason why it was picked for for the baseball scenes is because it was old enough, and I looked old enough that would be good for a movie that's supposed to be based in the 1930s, which is what Natural is based in the 1930s, and not 1980s where the movie came out on. And I still consider The Natural to be the best baseball movie made, contrary to what ESPN did by picking Bull Durham as the best or the greatest sports movie ever made, which is just a bunch of bullshit, because anybody with decent or connected brain cells knows that Bull Durham is not the best sports movie ever made. But The Natural is the best baseball movie ever made. There's not even a movie that's close in my eyes as close to The Natural as a baseball film. And it does have Glenn Close as Roy Hobbs' love interest. And there is a little bit of a twist in there that you could see what was going to be happening in the relationship between him and Glenn Close's character, because Glenn Close's character was his original girlfriend in the movie, and then later on, years later, they reunited, and he does tell Glenn. He never was very reluctant telling the media. He never even tells the media why he got back to playing at his age. He never tells anybody, except for Glenn Close. She was the only one who knew the whole story, or the full story, of why he came back when he did, or when he and what happened to him, because Glenn Close never knew, or the character never knew, because he never wrote it or anything else saying what happened, because he lives in Chicago, was supposed to be in Chicago, make the team, and then Glenn Close was supposed to come and follow him to Chicago and possibly get married, because Robert Redford wants to marry her in the movie, in the beginning of the film. And of course, that's when he ends up getting shot. He was in the hospital for a few years after the shooting, and the doctors told him he can't play ball again. And by then, he decided to come back anyway. And of course, at the end of the film, just before the playoffs, on the one-game playoff, it was down to and tied for the pennant. All they had to do was win one more game, and they win the National League pennant. And what happened was they had a party, and that's when Kim Basinger gave him something. Who knows? Maybe that food affected his stomach, and he collapsed. And that's when they go to the hospital, and they pumped his stomach, and they found out he had the silver bullet head, and the bullet head was still lodged in his stomach, and his lining of his stomach was gradually deteriorating. Which kind of what happened with Eddie Wackes, because he died in 1980 of lung cancer because they found fragments of the bullet in his lungs, and he developed lung cancer because of those bullet fragments. That's what kind of happened with Robert Redford's character in this movie. And I said, look, you have to quit, because if you don't quit, your stomach could easily blow apart and kill you on the spot. And if you stop playing, your stomach will, in time, can heal properly. But if you continue playing, all the stress and the physical part of playing a professional sport would make your condition worse and will kill you. And of course, if you see in the playoff game, especially in the last at bat, you see that he's bleeding through his uniform. And this movie. And of course, he hits. Naturally, I know I'm repeating it again, but he hits the home run at the end of the movie, and that's it. But it is a very good baseball movie. It's the best baseball movie. I still consider it's the best film ever made. And in terms of baseball movies, because it's still my favorite, I still like watching it again and again and again. And next year I'll be 30 years old. I know that a couple of years ago came out with a 25th anniversary DVD that's after this version. This is the original DVD version, that's what I have. And on the 25th anniversary, they came out with a director's cut with added scenes with a different beginning of the movie. And he actually goes back to his house that he lived in as a boy, and he gets his bat, his Wonder Boy bat. And let me tell you how popular, how huge this movie is, and how great this movie is. In the Baseball Hall of Fame, there is a baseball movie exhibit, and they have in the movie they have the hat. Let's see in the back here. They have Robert Redford's hat that you see here, the bat, right, the bat here, Robert Redford's uniform they wore, the jacket, plus the two bats, the Wonder Boy bat, which you see here in the picture, which is what it's holding, plus the bat that he hit the home run with at the end of the movie. It was called a Savoy Special, because I know I'm giving that part away too. That was before he hit the home run. The Wonder Boy bat broke, and he used a bat that he made with the Bat Boy, because the Bat Boy wanted to make one of those bats of his own, with some kind of a saying on or the lightning bolt. And what he did was he made a bat, and it has the name of the Bat Boy on it, called his name was Bobby Savoy, and the bat's name was Savoy Special, and that's the bat that he used to hit the home run with it in the playoff game. So those two bats, the Wonder Boy bat and the Savoy Special bat, are in the Hall of Fame on display. I never saw on display now, but there was on display in the Hall of Fame along with the uniform, the hat, a jacket, and I think also the bullet that the doctor's holding and gave to Robert Redford's character. Oh, we found this in his stomach. Those things are on display in the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. So if you ever go up there and you see the baseball movie exhibit, they have this. They have stuff with League of Their Own. They have stuff with Bull Durham, 8 Men Out, Major League. And I don't know about any other baseball movies, but at least the most recent ones. And like I said, The Natural is the best baseball. Contrary to what ESPN put out, The Natural is the best baseball movie ever made. And please check it out. I think the director's cut version is on YouTube, plus the original version. So if you check it out if you can. And thank you for watching the video. And like I said, The Natural is the best baseball film ever made. And if anybody picks another baseball movie or another sport movie, I don't know what the hell they're talking about. Because this movie is the best one. And of course, every baseball movie that came out since copied this film. In terms of, well, there were other baseball movies before then that always comes down to either a playoff game or a seventh game of a World Series, for the deciding game, or a pennant clinching game at the end of the film, and of course the team that you're rooting for the whole movie wins it. I mean, the only ones that didn't happen in was League of Their Own and the original Bad News Bears movie in 1976, which I'll probably get to another review, do the Bad News Bears movies. But those are the only two films that I know of for the team that you've been following through the whole movie doesn't win the championship at the end. And of course, the other movies that doesn't have the championship at the end, of course, is Bull Durham. The Sandlot. I think those are the only two that I know of that doesn't have a championship game at the end, or maybe in the third Bad News Bears film doesn't have a championship game at the end. But every movie copies this one, and people get tired in a way, because when Bull Durham came out 4 years later, people got tired of seeing the same thing happen at the beginning and the end of every baseball film. So that's why they made, when Bull Durham was made, they said, oh, it was different. They didn't have a championship game at the end. And that's one reason why it became popular. But other than the stuff, well, watch my Bull Durham review and you see why it became popular. But The Natural, that's the one that everybody copied in terms of having the championship games and stuff. Well, thank you for watching the video. Please like the video, subscribe to my channel, and make any comments if you agree or disagree with what I'm saying, or if you have any other little details you'd like to add. I'd be more than happy to listen to any criticisms that any of you have, in this film, or my review of the film. So thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time.